some of the best performing videos that I've posted have been super relatable, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's number one key. So You Can't Change My Mind came honestly by accident, man. Hop out of my car, this guy comes up to me, he's like, oh, you're the guy who makes those funny videos. I'm like, yeah. He looks at me, he looks at my car and he's like, bro, I thought you'd be driving something a lot better. And I think the biggest humbling experience was that first 6 months to a year after stopping content creation, because you're just going to punch it in the mouth every single day. TikTok pays nothing.
Okay.
So $0. If you're in Australia,
TikTok.
Yes. If you're in Australia and you're a content creator, you're making $0.
All right, today I got Teddy in the studio. Teddy, welcome and thanks for having a chat today.
Thank you for having me, man. This setup is awesome, bro.
Yeah, it's been great. And before we got on, I know we're having a bit of a laugh around, the move that I'd made to Dubai, and I guess the customer service that we've got. The guys here, they've given us the royal treatment coming in.
100%, man.
So it's been really good. Teddy, I want to get straight into it. You know, I've wanted to speak to you for quite a while, and you've got an awesome story, and I know you've been in the comedy game for quite some time, and I remember seeing you like way back, you know. So yeah, really, really interested to have a bit of a chat today and hear more about your story, and then also talk a bit about, you know, what you're currently looking at and what you're excited about. I guess at the moment, maybe tell everyone a bit about your story. Like, where did comedy come from? Like, were you always that funny guy in high school, or where did this originate?
Sort of. I mean, it's a bit of like back at a bus, cracking jokes on the way to school and, back, and also on the way back home. It all started pretty much about 10 to 11 years ago. So we're talking 2011. Started on YouTube. So I just started making videos on there. Did that for about a year and a half. Did super well. Reached like number 3 in comedy in Australia on YouTube.
Which is back in 2011.
Back in 2011. So you're talking like YouTube was pretty much American.
Yeah.
There was no real like Aussie YouTube unless it was like super niche. So I did that for about a year and a half. And then, I just stopped cold turkey. And I think like just being 18, 19, you don't even know what you're doing with your life.
Yeah.
You don't know, can we swear on this?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, you don't know your head from your ass, right?
Yeah.
So I was just like, you know what? I'll just go on to do the things that I want to do. Pretty much went back to study.
Yeah.
And just stopped the completely cold turkey, man. Just stopped uploading videos.
What you were like, you had so much success with it. Like you reached number 3. Everybody knew you.
I even got like 100,000 YouTube plaque. You know, the subscribers plaque.
Oh, they gave you the plaque?
Yeah, man. They sent that to me, man. I put that in the hard rubbish the following year. That's it. But also goes to show, like, I didn't really respect. Yeah. I didn't respect
What an achievement.
Yeah, I know. Like looking back now, 100%. But I guess back then there was no real concept of like doing content online. Like when you tell people like, I make content online. Even today, it's easier to explain it to my 5-year-old daughter than it is to explain it to anyone over the age of 40 because, like my daughter's like growing up with that technology. She sort of gets it. Yeah. While someone older like can't fathom the fact that, you're going today on a podcast to talk with Beau. Yeah. Or like, you make videos and make a living out of it. The game has changed. So I guess back then I didn't respect it. Yeah. Whilst now there's like a proof of concept with like, you got like Superwog, Sushi Mango, and then you go as far as worldwide, Logan Paul, Jake Paul, KSI, and those like, so.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So you always loved it, but it was just the thing where people were like, oh, what are you doing on this kind of just doing videos and stuff online?
Of course, man. Like the reward was there, but I felt like people just didn't respect it. And I think as well, sometimes what happens is someone will plant a seed in your mind, and sometimes we do it to ourselves.
Of course,
right? We sit there and like you start telling yourself like, maybe I'm not as good. That self-doubt creeps in, and I think that seed was planted in my head, and then eventually it was just like sort of. Like once it blossomed, I was just like, you know what? I'm not going to do this anymore. And I just stopped doing it.
Bummer, bro. Like I actually had something very similar happen to me. Like when I was younger, like I worked in real estate and I worked in mortgage broking and stuff. And I remember I was out one night and I was talking to some people and this guy comes over and he had a few drinks and he said some insult. He was like, oh, you're a fucking real estate agent. And I was like, what the fuck? I was like 20. I was like sort of finding where exactly I fit in. And then after that, I was like, oh, is it bad to be a real estate agent? Like I became a bit self-conscious about being a real estate agent,
100%, man. Especially like being young, I think it's easier for that self-doubt to creep in. And what I feel like as well, like maybe with real estate and as well as comedy, it's an old man's game.
Yeah.
Right? So when you're young and you're coming up, and like I'm not young now, but at the time whilst I was young, like people, you're impressionable, right? And as well as the people that are successful at it already and doing well are a lot older. So, like for example, in your situation, being a real estate, people are like, well, you're not 40, you don't have the network to sell, you can't do this and you can't do that. But no one will ever sit there and be like, hey, you know what? You can't right now, but you can eventually.
For sure.
You got to build up to it.
Definitely, bro. And I guess that's the tough thing. I mean, looking back and thinking at your 20-year-old self, being where you are now, like, would you have told yourself anything differently back in the day?
100%, man. I think I 100% would have told myself, bro, just stick to making videos, man.
Yeah.
Like just, stick it out and obviously get a team. No, bro, not everything can be done by yourself. I think that's one thing that I'm really starting to learn, especially the past 6 months, just almost June. So we're pretty much in June.
Pretty much,
yeah. And, the past 6 months, I've really taught myself that, like, you know what, you can't do everything by yourself. You got to get help. The things that you're good at, focus on. So obviously for me, just being the talent, being in front of the camera, it's not for everyone.
For sure.
100%. So, like those jobs here and there, it's probably good to get someone else to come in and help out.
Yep.
You'll get more done. So definitely stick to it. Get a team behind you and, get those people that can complement sort of your strengths.
Yep.
And also the sort of like weak points, you can find someone out there that can do it the
100%.
same or if not better.
For sure. And I guess the other thing is like with creating that team, like I know that you recently came back from Thailand and we were having a chat around like the level of service and what you can actually get for your money and this kind of thing. Like I had that same experience in Dubai where in Dubai, I've got actually some friends who are pretty heavily, whether it's in real estate, medical, and what they're doing is they've actually got somebody following them around like 24/7. And like the gold that you capture with having somebody around like all the time, like you don't miss all of those, good things that you're having a chat about. So, and it costs you like 2,000 Aussie a month. So I don't know, is that anything that you've thought of in relation to relocating or anything like that or doing a stint like a month away or anything? Or?
Yeah, of course. I think there's always like, especially being a content creator, the good thing about it is it's all done online, right? For me, it's a bit hard because some of my videos are in a car.
Yeah.
But, that's slowly moving out of the car and, hopefully getting a studio space or whatever. But, there's always that thing in the back of your mind, especially like when you pay taxes here, which I do pay my taxes like a good boy. You start thinking like, man, is this even worth, like being here, right? So you start looking at like, I remember being in Phuket a couple of weeks ago. I just looked at my wife and I'm just like, man, we are so much better off like being here or, you hear stories like yours and someone else's that are in Dubai, right? And, it's no secret with the whole tax situation and you actually, it feels like you're getting your money's worth, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like the level of service that you get more so. I think from my end, it's more so like the level of service and, I remember actually, it's a bit uncomfortable actually. You walk into a room and every door's held open for you. And then I remember being at a restaurant once and this guy goes, how many pieces of ice do you want in your sparkling water with your lemon? I go, what do you mean? Like one ice, sir, 2, 3, 4? Like, I don't know. Just put the fucking ice in. Like it's all good, bro.
And it's crazy that that level of service will always make you think like, bro, you look at all these businesses in Australia and I hope some businessmen are listening to this right now. Instead of adding a surcharge to your price that that you charge your customer, just increase the service and increase the price and people will happily pay that extra money if that means they're getting a good product and good service. There's no need for these like little surcharges and everything.
For sure.
Just price your stuff at, what you think it's worth. And there are people out there that will come out and support
for sure.
business, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I want to also understand a bit about, I guess, with where you started your comedy journey. Like I know you were the funny guy back in the bars, this kind of thing. But when did it click properly? Were you in high school or was it a bit later? Like
yeah, so the YouTube stint, obviously that clicked in high school. So growing up, I was a huge YouTube fan.
Year 12 kind of thing?
Year 11.
Okay, year 11.
Year 11. So in year 11, I was like, Oh, bro, from year 9, I'd say, to year 11, I was a mad YouTube fan.
Okay.
So I grew up on like Smosh, like old school YouTube, like American YouTube. And like I remember watching all these funny guys in America, and I'm just like, man, this is hilarious. But there isn't something like that here in Australia. So I was just like, you know what? I'm going to be the person to sort of, you know,
I'm
like
that guy,
start
bro.
it.
I feel that void.
Yeah, I'll feel that void. And you know what? Maybe I'll do it my way. And the good thing, like, let's say I'll put it up and it doesn't really get views. At the end of the day, failure is just feedback. And you know what? With every video, I'll just get better and better. Right? And I turned to my two best mates at the time. Well, kids, man, like 16, 17. I remember going to La Porchetta, sit down, we're eating the pizza, and I'm like, boys, I've got this genius idea. Let's start a YouTube channel. And they both looked at me and they're just like, but what if people leave bad comments? What are we going to do? And I'm like, nah, trust me, man, it's going to work. And you know what? If the comments are really that bad, we'll just delete them anyway, right? It's not the end of the world. And then they're like, nah, we're not going to do that. So I was just like, you know what? Probably it's my calling. So you know what?
Do it anyway, bro.
I'm going to do it anyway. And worst comes to worst, bro, 10, 20 videos in, it doesn't work, whatever. I'll just go back to watching the YouTubers as I've been doing.
For sure. Do you still have that profile? Like, can we go check back in the day? Like,
nah, unfortunately not. A lot of the videos are on private and they're probably on a laptop at my mum's house, which one day I think I'm just going to...
Why don't we put them back on?
Like, bro, you know, like, or maybe just put like a time capsule, you know, just put them all into a document, and then whoever wants to go back can download them and rewatch them.
Absolutely, bro. Like it's great to go back, you know, watch the journey a bit and and see where you've come. You know, that's where you can appreciate it.
Yeah, 100%. And then after that, like obviously it's slowly compounded and then it grew to what it was. And then I stopped at cold turkey. And then obviously for 8 years I was just traveling and studying and working.
Amazing.
And then sort of...
So you were traveling, where were you traveling? Mainly?
I went Morocco. Mad. So yeah, being a Moroccan, I had to go back, visit family, you know, Europe, you know, just typical Aussie.
So during this period of time, like during this 8 years, like were you making content? Like were you putting stuff out?
No, zero content. I was just like everyone else.
So you had an 8-year gap.
8 years and a half, man, of just making zero content. The only content that I really did was post selfies on Instagram, like you know, Facebook, whatever. Just normal.
Yeah, just normal stuff.
Yeah, just normal stuff.
And what made you want to come back? Like, what made you just go, I want to come back?
So, like in the 8 years, you've got this whole conversation going on of, oh man, remember when you used to make videos? Oh, you know, you should come back. You should come back. And then on the other end, you've got, you know, you could come, if only you stuck to it. So there's also that, right? If only you stuck to it, you'd be where Logan Paul is and everything. And I'm like, yeah, but when I started, you were the same person that said, that will never work, that will never work.
Sure.
Which is strange, right?
So we never listened to the naysayers.
100%, man.
Yeah.
So I was just like, I always had it in the back of my mind, but I just felt like there was no real like entry point for me. So you know what, I'm not trying to time the algorithm or market or whatever, but I'm just trying to sort of find that hole that I can fill. And then TikTok and Instagram Reels were sort of popping off. I mean, Instagram Reels was just very new and TikTok was popping off, and this was towards the end of lockdown. In the lockdown, I'm talking Melbourne lockdown.
Yep.
And I remember thinking like, you know what, dude, I'm in the fitness industry. I'm not going back to work anytime soon. Let me just make some videos and upload them. And I just turned to my wife and I was just like, babe, I think I'm going to start making videos again. She was like, you've got my support. Go ahead. You know what you're doing. I'm not going to sit here and tell you how to do it.
Yep.
You already know what you want to do. Put it up. So I started making a couple of videos again. Yep. And I think the spark to that was I was just consuming so much Instagram and TikTok, and it just felt like there wasn't a me in the market, right? You know, TikTok had sort of like your girls dancing, you know, people making, I guess
That's right. Yeah, all it was girls dancing.
Yeah,
that's all it was.
That's all it was. It was just girls dancing and like, you know, like guys, you know, like, I don't know, whatever guys did on TikTok. It was just like, you know, like the broccoli hair, the fucking dangly earrings, sort of just prancing around.
TikTok was all people that were young as fuck. I remember
100%
my brother was like 14 on it, 13, 12, like making stupid videos.
Yeah,
like,
100%. And those trending sounds.
There was hardly anybody over 20 on there.
Oh, of course, man. It was just, you know, like these trending sounds that are, you know, like brain rot type of sounds. And I was just like, man, there isn't really anyone there just talking to the camera.
Yeah.
You know what? And maybe that's the point of difference that will stand out from everyone else.
Yeah.
But just like every idiot out there, listen to the naysayers.
Yeah.
They're like, bro, you're too old. You're not gonna, like, no one on TikTok is gonna watch you. You're older.
Yeah.
Number two, you're married with kids. Why are you gonna make videos? You've got kids. Why would you put yourself out there? And bro, and I remember sitting there like talking to my wife, and I'm just like, Like, is this, are they right? And then she was like, look, just put out videos and like whatever comes out of it, comes out of it. 2-3 videos in, the third video got taken off my Instagram and put onto TikTok by someone else. So I was just uploading on Instagram.
Oh, okay.
Someone ripped my video completely, put it on TikTok, and it got 600,000 views in 24 hours.
Unreal.
So this is the same platform that everyone's telling me I should stay off.
Wow.
All it took was for this account literally had a video of a dog, a video of a tree, and a video of my face
and
on
you.
it. 600,000 views. And I looked at my wife and I'm just like, so TikTok is for kids, huh?
Yeah.
And then I started uploading on TikTok as well.
Unreal.
And then,
Amazing.
kept challenging myself. I'm just like, you know what? I'm just going to keep uploading. If I could just upload 2 videos a week, and that's how it starts. You do it once a week, twice a week. I'm like, if I could just get 2 a week out, I'm sweet.
Amazing.
And it's just compounded ever since.
Unreal. And where do you think you want to take it in your mind? Like, what does 2030 look like for Teddy?
2030, man, that's a very long time away. But, it's taken me places I would have never thought. Like, dude, to quit my full-time job, to quit my 9 to 5 in the fitness industry and be able to do this full-time is an absolute pleasure. I've done a national tour. 2030, man, I'd love to have a team behind me where I can get as much content out as possible.
Amazing.
I'm looking at sort of probably cartoonifying myself as well, just so there could be more content made via cartoon. And, we could delve into the whole like NFT and like a metaverse space, almost like a metaverse version of myself.
Yeah.
But almost like a cartoon version as well where kids.
Unreal. Tell us about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I think there's a place in the market where, bro, there's only so many videos I can record before I'm like, all right, cool, I got to take a step back. So maybe making a cartoon version of myself.
Unreal.
And, there are places I can't reach as well. And I'm just like, maybe if I make the cartoon version and maybe even smacking some subtitles on them in different languages or getting it dubbed in different languages.
Yeah.
Yeah, so sort of just growing it outside of Australia and New Zealand. And I'm very grateful. I've got an audience in South Africa.
Really?
Yeah, man. I'll shout out to everyone in Johannesburg and Cape Town that are watching me. Yeah, man. I've got like people watching me like all over the place. And I think to reach more people, maybe you've just got to do a different method of delivery. So just more content and hopefully a bit more stand-up comedy. So we'll see.
Amazing, bro. And who's inspiring you at the moment? Like, do you look at certain comics and you're like, wow, this guy's like amazing, or you don't super idolize people? Like,
I don't super idolize people because I think the last person that I sort of like really was like, wow, man, they're amazing. I met them in real life and it was just...
It was a letdown.
I was like the biggest letdown, bro. And it was... man. It was they say don't meet your heroes, right?
Yeah.
And I think I just had one of those moments where I just sort of like took a step back and I'm just like, bro, these people aren't shit.
Yeah.
Like they're really not, they're not superhuman or anything like that. They're just like you and I.
Yep.
And I'm just like, you know what? Why am I idolizing or looking up to these people when I can just, I think the best thing that I've done and that I've changed over the past 6 months is I also just study my old self.
I love it.
And I just say, hey, what have I been doing better? What can I do better of? And just learning from my own mistakes, man. Like I look at some of my videos from like a year ago and I just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I need to change that. So sometimes even just studying yourself it has been a game changer for myself.
And what do you find is the most successful when you are putting videos out? Like, are you finding like when you're a bit like YOLO, fuck it, like do they do better? When you've like thought it out and been more strategic about it, is it a lot better? Like typically, like what are some of the most successful videos you've had and what's been the methodology behind how you've got them to that point?
Of course. So some of the best performing videos that I've posted have been super relatable, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's number one key because usually people, if you see something that's relatable or funny, you're probably going to send it to your mate. Or you're going to send it to the group chat.
Yeah.
And then 1 view turns to 10 and then 10 view turns to 100 and then people start sharing it around.
Yeah.
So relatability, there is obviously posting time because there is the human psychology aspect that a lot of content creators don't respect, right? In the sense of you post your video at midday, but everyone's at work. No one's going to be sitting there watching your videos because no one cares about your video because they're stressed about making it to 5 p.m. so they can go home and make dinner for their family. So even like changing posting times to when people are sort of a lot more chill, a lot more at home. People respond better when you post later in the week because it's closer to payday.
For sure.
Whilst if you post a video on Monday, it doesn't really perform as well. So just little things like that I've sort of
Yeah, and relatability as well. So you've got
100% relatability. I think is sort of the key, and then you find some things that are like so super niche that sometimes it hits harder.
Yeah,
right. So something might not get as many views. But that 20% viewership that you got out of your usual 100%, it hit them hard.
Yeah, they loved it.
Of course, they loved it, and it's right. Like not everyone's going to be into everything, right?
Of course, yeah.
So
where did you get You Can't Change My Mind? Where did that come from?
You Can't Change. So You Can't Change My Mind came honestly by accident, man. Like I wish there was a cool story to it. One of my first viral videos was about the top money laundering businesses in Australia, and you can't change my mind. And the joke was like, bro, like I'm adamant that these are money laundering businesses, and you can't change my mind.
Yeah.
And I did it in that video, and it went super viral. We're talking like 1.6 million views in like 3-4 days. Super viral, right?
Unreal.
And the next video I made, I didn't say you can't change my mind. And people were like, oh, how come you didn't say your signature line? And I'm like, what signature line? And they're like, you can't change my mind. And I'm like, all right, cool. It's my signature line now. So I've just stuck with it, and it's stuck with me, and it's grown on me, man. My last tour was called You Can't Change My Mind tour. So and it's grown on me. And it's funny because like every time I meet someone in public, they're like, oh, me and my family, anytime we say something and we're adamant about it, we're like, and you can't change my mind. And I'm like, yeah, buddy.
Yes, that's you.
That's what we want.
I love it. And some of the other things that I think are really good is I saw a funny one recently where you put it was relatable things. What was it? It was car light in the car. Like your parents telling you it's illegal.
Yes.
Like just funny things like that. I saw like that was one that did really well.
100%. I think it's just it's a relatability and observational humor. So like my videos where you'll realize it's a lot of observational humor. And I think I say this and I really mean it because people think I'm joking. Sometimes shit happens to me in life and I just think to myself, bro, this can't be just me that it's happening to.
Yeah.
And that's how a video comes together.
Unreal. I love it. And what role does your family play in all this? Like your wife, very supportive, like...
Yeah, of course. Like, I mean, naturally, she's got to be supportive. You've got no choice. Like at the start, obviously, it was like completely brand new.
Of course.
It's a new concept. Like I said, it's harder to explain to some people. But with my family, they're super supportive. Like when I was younger, my parents didn't really understand it. Whilst now there's a lot more understanding to it because there's proof of concept out there.
For sure.
With my wife and daughters, so like my daughters just know like this is what dad does. He makes videos, he makes people laugh, and that's it. So very surface level. Whilst with my wife, man, I like to consider her the creative director because sometimes I'll make a video and it'll be absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
You and I'll find it funny. But from a female's perspective, you know, sometimes we just need to fine tune a few things. So, you know, she's got a different sense of humor. Like she'll laugh at the most ridiculous stuff that I'll just look at and I'll just be like, that's not funny. And then there'll be stuff I'll laugh at and she'll look at and be like, that's not even funny. So sometimes it's a combination of both.
That's funny, bro.
And you put that together and sometimes I guess that's the secret recipe for viral success.
Yeah, so you kind of, well, you appeal to a lot of audiences too, like, which is a funny thing, like the eyelashes, like.
Oh, man, bro, I'll talk about anything and everything, man. Like, give me enough time to research it, obviously.
Yeah.
I'll talk about anything and everything, man. Like, and it's funny because, thank you for bringing up the eyelashes because I remember my wife and I sat on that video for about 3 to 4 weeks. Oh, no, probably like 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And we're just like, how are we going to turn this into a video? Like, because you can see like different eyelashes, different girls, you know, you can just see like they've got the wispy, they're like ready to punch on with any guy.
For sure.
You got the ones with the mega volume, they obviously, you know, makeup and everything. And, you know, like their life is centered around like eyelash appointments and everything.
Yeah.
And I remember when I posted the video, a lot of people were like, bro, you're a guy. What do you know about eyelashes? Yeah. And I'm like, you really want to test me? And then it turns out to be like one of the most viral videos this year for me. So
unreal, bro. That was hilarious.
Eat a pair of eyelashes, my brother.
And my other question, a bit more controversial, you know, with all of these snowflakes and cancel culture and all of this stuff. I mean, is that something where you've had to adjust your content or does it just not apply in the comedy world? It's just whatever, fuck you, you know, this is funny, who cares? Like, how do you deal with that kind of stuff?
Of course, like, you know, there's going to be cancel culture and I think, you know, I don't want to manifest it.
Of course.
But, you know, there's going to be people out there that are going to get butthurt about something.
Yeah.
And for me, bro, I'm not scared of cancel culture. So come for me if you want. But honestly, like I just keep it very G-rated, PG-rated, so I'm not too concerned about it because at the end of the day, like the stuff I talk about is the stuff that when Beau is at a barbecue with his family, he can bring it up and not have any concern that he's going to offend anyone. If you share a video with, your parents, like, bro, I don't even swear my videos, right? Like I keep it fairly clean, fairly general.
Definitely.
So, I don't trot around, certain topics and agendas, and we all know what's out there. And at the end of the day, do your own research.
For sure.
And bro, like, I just try. I guess play it safe is what people say, but I don't play it safe. Like what I say is what I say,
for sure.
And if it happens to get me cancelled, then bro, I'm only human.
Of course, no. I think. Look, there's a lot of snowflakes out there anyway. It's kind of funny, but I think your stuff is very, pretty G-rated. I think anyone can say it's pretty. It's pretty fine on the spectrum of things.
Of course, I said, I try and make it so we can share it with, like, bro, it's the type of videos that if I show my daughters, I'm not going to be concerned.
For sure.
And if she's 5 years old.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so that's the type of content I'm aiming for.
Do you have any funny stories? Like, if you had a Karen that's just been like, blah, 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 or is there something funny maybe you want to share of a fan or a crazy fan?
Of course, man. So, like, what happens is sometimes, like, obviously some of these videos that I'll make, it's probably, at the end of the day, the way I see it is just like star signs.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you can believe it or you cannot. Like if I say cherry ripe is crap, like it's just a joke, right? Like you might like cherry ripe, I don't like cherry ripe, it is what it is. Yeah. And this one guy come up to me at Coles, and I said this on my stand-up comedy tour. He comes up to me and he's like, oh, you're that guy who makes TikTok videos. I'm like, yeah. So I saw your one about chocolate and I didn't like what you said about cherry ripe. And I'm like I just shrugged my shoulders. I'm like, bro, what do you want me to say? So, he carries like, and then like, I'm like, oh, well, I'm like, we'll agree to disagree, bro. And you can say things like, nah, it's not fair for you to say that cherry ripe is shit.
He's offended.
He's genuinely offended. It's like, it's not fair for you to say cherry ripe is shit. Like you're not like a food review. Like I think the angle he was trying to get at is like, you're not a food reviewer. So who are you to say that cherry ripe is shit? And I'm like, it's funny you say that.
Cherry ripe is so shit.
Yeah, bro, it's ass, man. It's ass. Cherry ripe, the Turkish delight. Bro, anytime you get a favorites box in any office, and I can guarantee you it's in this office as well, they get a favorites box, the last two chocolates that are around and no one wants to even eat them is Turkish delight and cherry ripe, bro. Not even the cleaner that cleans his podcast studio wants to eat them. He probably looks at it and they're like, yeah, man, I'm checking this out. Yeah, and then he's like, oh, but you don't have enough evidence for you to say cherry ripe, yada, yada. And I'm like, look, whatever. And then I'm like, it's funny you say that because I genuinely think cherry ripe is shit and I'm going to show you proof. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, look behind you. He turns around and there it is, cherry ripe for half price. I'm like, if it was good, it wouldn't be for half price. They're trying to get rid of it because it's terrible.
Yeah.
So you just get funny things like that happen. And sometimes like, probably this is a story that has happened to me a lot recently that I haven't shared is like crazy fans, right? And you know what? Sometimes people don't think before they talk, right? I was driving and bro, I live a humble, modest lifestyle. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I own this or I drive this or I look like this. Bro, just driving, parked at a shopping center, I hopped out of my car. Just an average Mazda. Hop out of my car. This guy comes up to me. He's like, oh, you're the guy who makes those funny videos. I'm like, yeah. He looks at me. He looks at my car and he's like, bro, I thought you'd be driving something a lot better. Should I know hi, no, how are you? No, I like your videos and nothing. And he's just like greasing me and my car off. And I'm just like,
he's
brother,
offended too. Yeah.
I'm like, yeah. I'm like, and like, well, what's your point? And he's like, oh, no. Like, I thought, I thought you'd be raking it in. And I'm like, all right, and then now where do we go from this conversation? And then it was just like, no, we're just like, all right, cool. And it's like, I'm like, all right, cool, have a good day. And he's like, yeah, you too. I was like, what a cooked guy, man.
Yeah.
But sometimes that's the cost of business.
Oh, that's
you make content online, you're open for criticism, and I mean, if that means my car, my beautiful humble Mazda, cops it too. We'll take it on the chin. So cherry ripe in my car, I've copped it. We're copping strays everywhere.
Yeah, amazing. And when you're out at the shops and this sort of thing, so you're pretty recognizable at this point. Like if you're walking around the city, would you have one or two people stop you here and there?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's it's commonality now. Like I try and avoid like peak times at certain places. That's the point it's gotten to.
That's crazy
because like sometimes
so
I'm
you
just
have to think I shouldn't go here at this time.
100%. I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to go to a shopping center. I either go super early or I just leave for the next day to go super early the next day.
Well,
because at that point where, bro, like I'm just trying to run normal everyday things. Like it's come to the point where like, don't get me wrong, I love it. It's good feedback because that means the content I'm making is getting out there and people respect the content. But when it comes to the point where I'm in Coles, and someone comes up to me, they're like, oh, you're Teddy, yeah? I'm like, yeah. They're like, what are you doing here?
Where do they expect you to be in Los Angeles?
I don't know, bro. Like, these people think like I've got like a chauffeur driving me. In Turak. Bro, even in Turak, they're shopping at Coles, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, bro, like I'm just like you. Yeah. You know, I'm doing like normal everyday things. Like, what do you think? I'm here to pick up like my pet giraffe or something, bro.
That's hilarious.
Like I'm just shopping at Coles just like everyone else. So sometimes, just to avoid those certain conversations, I just, go in, try and do my thing as early as possible and get out. And I think like now, especially like I'm doing a lot more public content, sometimes like I'll be trying to record something out in public because I do these suburb videos, which is a new concept I've delved into, and it's different kind of videos. And
I see you're bashing on Dallas and like
I'm not bashing, man. I'm like a journalist. I'm just putting what's out there. That's it. It's just I'm just representing the underrepresented. That's the way I look at it, and I just say what it is. And sometimes some businesses will come out and they'll be like, no, don't record here. Thinking like that's the type of reputation that content creators have gotten. Yeah. Is the fact that I'm there to bash their business. And I'm like, bro, I'm just saying it as is.
Yes.
If your shop needs a reno, I'm probably going to say, hey, look, man, it's old.
Yeah.
But that's
maybe the food's great,
But that's not going to stop someone from coming there just because I'll never punch down.
Of course.
Ever. Yeah. Any of my suburb videos, I made it quite clear. I'll just say something that's non-biased. It's just genuine observation.
Definitely.
And you know what? If that offends someone, then bro, I don't know what to say, man.
Yeah.
So and sometimes when I do those public videos, it's like now people are starting to stop. Oh, yeah, I've seen you do the Dallas video.
Yeah.
So, like, oh, how are you? Oh, good to see you here. And I'm just like, bro, like I'm trying to record the video,
like while you're recording.
Yeah, whilst I'm recording. And, sometimes you get that and then you get the usual NPCs that'll just like cross the camera whilst I'm recording. And I'm just like, oh, man, this is getting tough. So sometimes also just picking the times that I have to go out and everything. But I'm not complaining. I'm grateful for it all. Yeah, just stating.
Sure. I love it. Let's go back because I know you had that 8-year gap. Now, you were doing some pretty big collabs back in the day, with some of the guys. Was it some of the Janoskians as well that were?
Yes, so that was probably like the last 6 months of me making videos.
Okay.
Yeah, did some content with them. So they were from the same area as me, Glenroy.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
So you guys were making videos together, doing some collaborations.
That's it, man. And then just stopped. And then they went on their own path and, kudos to them.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
You did your thing? And
I did my thing, 100%, man. I did my thing and, I'll never ever look back and be like, oh, I wish I continued on and everything. I tell myself if I could go back in time, I tell myself to continue on.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'm grateful because for everything that's happened in the last 8 years, I'm super grateful for the fact that everything that I learned in the 8 years has turned me into the content creator that I am now.
Yeah.
So maybe I wouldn't be where I am now, which I'm super grateful for. If I didn't take that 8-year gap, who knows what could have happened in that extra, maybe I could have created content for an extra 6 months and that could have been the spiral of my life.
Definitely. And do you feel like you learned a lot since that time, like taking that break, like you'd had a perspective shift on different things and that sort of thing?
100%. Yeah? Like I said, you learn to respect content creation and the job. You learn to respect how you do some things, how you do everything, right? And I think the biggest humbling experience was that first 6 months to a year after stopping content creation because you're just getting punched in the mouth every single day. Every single day you're getting reminded, oh, didn't you used to make those videos? Oh, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
Oh, you used to make those videos. Yeah, you used to be a big shot. What are you now? And so every day I was eating those punches. And sometimes the humbling experience to make you realize that, hey, you know what, you had it good.
Yeah.
And, I should have respected it at the time. And so eating those punches and then obviously the travel puts things into perspective, right? Going to Morocco, going to other countries and you realize like, bro, opportunities are not as, man, how can I say? It's a lot there's a lot less opportunities overseas than there are in Australia. And anyone who says otherwise is probably just really, really blind and maybe feels entitled to these opportunities, right? Because you think about it, both my parents are Moroccan. They left their life in a country with all their family to come here and seek out these new opportunities that are out there, right? Like the concept of you leaving your job today and going to become an Uber driver or Amazon Flex delivery driver doesn't exist overseas, right? Or if it does exist, it is so saturated that it's not really an opportunity. The average person could leave their job, work on a side hustle, and do Uber and Amazon Flex or like everything whilst like working on their side hustle. That's an opportunity within itself, right? There's opportunities to invest. Australia is still growing like ridiculously, and that's a conversation, an argument you can have. You can have with a million different ways. People will say this is too high, this is too low, or whatever. Crunch the numbers, but chances are, if you throw your money into property or something here, most likely it's going to grow. Whilst you do it like in an apartment in Europe, that's probably going to stay like that forever because there isn't really much growth going on.
For sure.
All right, so the opportunities are there, education, everything. So maybe I had to step away from the environment and go to places like Morocco where,
it gave you a new perspective.
100%, man. Like it made me realize that, bro, we've got so much more opportunity that even the biggest shit kicker in Australia is doing probably better than the average person in those countries, right? And that's when I was sort of like came back and I was like, whoa.
Yeah. You realized how lucky you were and how good you had it here, and
how good everybody
has it here,
right? Everyone has it, and I had it that little bit better, and I didn't respect it. So
So what are some of the things you learned? So you've been humbled, which is good, and did you ever kind of have that mental, like what was the mindset for you to continue persevering when things were a bit tougher? Now you're on the top, but when things were a bit tougher, going from being super recognizable, famous at a young age, going off the grid for 8 years, starting to come back again slowly. What was the mindset of persevering there?
I think the mindset is, bro, that no one cares. And I mean that you can take that in a good way or bad way. Yeah, you can not like people might give their opinion or 2 cents, but really no one cares, right? Now, what I mean by that is, bro, you can do what you want. No one really cares. And that's good. That's bad. You can sit there and dwell and be like, oh man, no one cares. Or it's good, like, bro, even if I do this and it doesn't work out, cool, no one cares. Let's move on to the next thing. So for me, it was just that mindset shift of like, cool, even if I was going to come back and do whatever I want to do, whether I was going into the fitness industry, which is a whole different conversation of like trying to convince my parents that, hey, I'm going to work in the fitness industry for the rest of my life. Is that, was that even like feasible for someone who wants to have a family and like whatever, right?
For sure.
Obviously now there's online coaches, but we're talking like back in the days before Instagram.
For sure.
Where there was no real such thing as like, become a PT. It was like every PT was like that guy at the park who trained people once a day.
For sure.
Or you worked at a leisure center. So even like having those conversations and I'm just like, all right, cool. If I want to make a decision, I'll make a decision for myself. I stick to it and I'll work hard at it. So that was one of the main things. And you also realize that we live in a bubble here in Australia. Sense of like everyone just thinks, bro, like Australia is all there is. Bro, we live in a huge, huge world. What is not valuable here could be 20 times the value overseas. And I mean that by skill. I mean that with, bro, like even as a person, right? The average person here who's a creative might not, thrive in Australia, but could go America and absolutely kill it. You hear it in the music industry. You hear it with content creators. Bro, I know people that are, or they're videographers, go to Dubai and like here they won't get paid. Like, people tell them like, oh man, I can only give you a couple $100 or maybe do it for free. And then they'll go to Dubai and earn 100, 200, 300 grand a year because the person there is like values content that much more.
For sure.
So maybe it's not you. Maybe it's just the environment you're in. I think that
could be true too. Like I knew a guy from Sydney as a content creator, and he was doing a few things, getting a few jobs here and there, but couldn't really do it as a full-time thing. Moved to Dubai. In Dubai, you get access to people at a really high level. Like Tom Khan is, you can pretty much walk up to him and say hi, and someone like that will give you the time of day. You could speak to him for 2 or 3 minutes. So, point being, he had a conversation with Tom Khan. Now they're doing collaborations. I think he's doing some videos for him. Like, you know,
and that's just
you got
one
Comes
example.
out there, you got heaps, and that's just one tiny example.
And you know, like I think Dubai is the easy point because it almost feels like it's the center of the world, right? Where even if you don't live there, bro, chances are you're passing it. You're passing it. And even if it's for just 2-3 days, people are there keen on your business.
For sure.
And that's the difference with, you know, like a place like Dubai and most of the other places in the world where people in Australia here are just like, yeah, you know, if Beau doesn't accept me, then my life is doomed. And it's like, nah, man, you know, you could go to a different state and get a whole different business, you know? Like bro, I don't even know how to explain it. Like there's endless opportunities out there, man.
Yeah, definitely. Are you thinking where you want to go with your career? Are you going to do a world tour? Is that something on the cards?
I mean, the option is there. Why not? Yeah. You know, if that's on the table, I'll happily do it. If, you know, the time is right as well. Because, man, I think the weird thing with content creation is I felt the way I felt when I got 10K followers. And then you get 50K. And then I'm like, yeah, I'm the man. Then I get 100K. You're like, no, I'm the man now.
Yeah.
And then you get, you know, and the more it compounds, the more like, yeah, I'm the man. I'm the man. And then you look back and you're like, was I really the man? Yeah. So sometimes like I have moments where I'm like, yeah, when I'm ready. Yeah. Now I'm ready. Yeah. And then like a month will pass by and I'm like, was I really ready? Yeah. So I think there's a bit of self-doubt there.
Yeah, some limiting belief, but I guess, you know, you've seen how far you come, bro, so the sky is the limit, truly.
I guess the proof is there, and sometimes I got to remind myself of that I'm him, and, you know, and that's why, like, I've learned this shit to really, like, study my own work and realize, like, all right, cool, man, I'm really pushing through, and, you know, like, we live in a time where with content creation, technically everyone's a content creator, right? The competition is steep. And you know what? There could be someone who's never done a tour can come in and overtake me and do an international tour. So I guess it's just going to come down to when I'm ready, when I feel like I'm ready, and when the audience is there as well.
Nice, yeah. And do you feel like I saw you do collaborations, you've done some stuff with Ibi, you've done some stuff with Sushi Mango guys, and this kind of thing. Is that sort of stuff like set to continue? The Aussie guys kind of taking overseas? Is there a bit of a gap in the market for that as well? Or
yeah, of course. I mean, like you had Sushi Mango just come off their world tour, which is awesome. My last conversation with Ibi, I think he wants to go overseas, do a few things. My cousin Vlad as well. He does a few things overseas. There is room for it, right? But I think different senses of humor is like will take time to reach certain places, right? And
because Aussies, we're kind of our own breed, aren't we? Like we
100%.
Find the same things funny.
100%, man. Yeah, like, definitely. Dude, we have a whole different, like the way we shit talk and have a laugh is completely different to everyone else in the world.
Yep.
And sometimes it's going to take time for certain people to get accustomed to it. Like, bro, there are people in Australia that can't stand me because they're like, oh, your delivery is too aggressive. You know, every time I open up my thing, you're always yelling and everything. And I'm just like, bro,
come on.
Yeah, like, you know, man, that's soft. But at the end of the day, it's comedy, you know?
Yeah.
And so, no, bro, like, I don't like eating pears. But there's someone out there who loves pears.
They're going to get upset. Yeah.
Exactly,
You're
man.
You're going to offend all the pear lovers.
Exactly, man. Yeah. So, but I'm out there, just at the end of the day, I put out the content.
Yep.
And it attracts its tribe.
Yeah.
And then when the time is right, man, the tour's there. And, with the boys, whenever they've got a good idea, I'm more than happy to work and collaborate on that idea. And if I have a good idea, I'm always open to pitching it to them, whether they're interstate or whether they're within Melbourne.
Nice.
That there's heaps of work out there to be done.
Amazing.
I think it also comes down to like timing as well. I think that's the toughest part when it comes to collaborations.
Yeah, and when it comes to collaborations, like, are you guys all sort of pushing that together, or do you have a meeting, or you just kind of just ad hoc? Yeah.
Yeah, a bit of ad hoc, but I think as well, like what happens is, I'll give you a good example. The video that I made with Sushi Mango and Ibi, we sat in that house for 4 hours in total, and we recorded. Like the first 2 hours and a half was just us shit talking.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's just like that distraction is there.
Yeah.
And like sometimes we shit talk and the problem is like when you like all of us are there, what's a good idea? Oh, okay, no, that's a better idea. No, let's work on this idea. But chances are they're all good ideas.
For sure.
But because we're all perfectionists, we're there, we're like, oh no, that's a better idea. Yeah. Oh yeah, true. But what if we do this? Yeah. Oh, no, that's a shit idea. Yeah. Oh, no, that's a better idea. So sometimes you get caught up in things and we don't see each other as often.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's a good big catch up for us, and then we end up getting no work done.
Yeah, because you're just catching up on life.
100%, man. And sometimes it's good to catch up, and that's the magic in the video.
Amazing.
Is like when the video comes out, it's like after a good catch up, we've all debriefed, and we finally get that piece of content out.
Yeah.
And then sometimes same thing with the video with Ibi, man. Like the first hour and a half was just us talking about what we want to do and how we want to do it. Definitely. And then we're like, bro, I think we need to make a video. I'm like, oh yeah, shit, man. We're here to make a video.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, that's also the tough part about collaboration.
Your own approach, like collaboration aside, are you more of a perfectionist, or do you just record it once, twice, 3, 4 times and go, this one's the best, I'll just upload it?
No, man. I'll try and make sure every video is quality that goes out.
Yeah.
People laugh when I say this, but it takes me 45 minutes to make a 1-minute video.
Yeah.
All right. The first 5-10 minutes is just me in the car trying to G myself up to get into the mood and get into the spirit.
What G's you up? Do you start like...
Just, bro, vocal warm-ups and as well as like just maybe sometimes getting the topic and letting it marinate. Sometimes, just like, oh, okay, cool. What can I joke about in this topic and everything? All right, cool. If I say it like this, if I say it like that, as well as prepping the images. So because I'm in the car, sometimes I get the green screen effect to get the image behind me to talk about what it like to sort of add effect to what I'm talking about. So like, when I talk about the lights in the car, there'll be a photo of the lights in the car behind me. So sometimes the first 5-10 minutes will just be me sourcing those images to make them engaging.
Mad.
Right? No one wants a boring cartoon clip art behind them.
Of course, yeah. Do you do your own editing, or you've got a team at this point?
I know I'll do everything myself. The suburb videos I do have a videographer on.
Yep.
And he's great. I met him at the gym.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things where I'm like, yeah, when I need you, I'll let you know.
Yep.
And then the right time came where I'm just like, all right, cool. In order for me to knock out more work, I need to get someone on board. And I got him on board. Happy as Larry, man.
Nice. And then when it comes to your income, like does most of that come from sponsorships, or can you earn like good money from the platforms themselves by monetizing like your YouTubes and your Facebooks, et cetera? Like how does that work for a comic?
So for a content creator, YouTube would probably be the best. I don't have any content on YouTube, so I'm making $0 from YouTube. Yep. TikTok pays nothing.
Okay.
So $0. If you're in Australia,
from TikTok.
Yes. If you're in Australia and you're a content creator, you're making $0. The only way you're making money from your content is if you're going live streaming. And if someone gifts you, then that gift translates into a monetary
like
value.
A rose and a crown and all diamond and
all of that stuff, right? Send you a galaxy, send me a lion, send me a rose, send me 1,000,000 roses.
Yep.
There's that. Facebook, there's a bit of money there, but it's very piss poor.
Okay.
Right? But it's slowly getting better. Instagram has only just introduced, so by the time this comes out, it'll probably be like announced sort of like mainstream, where they're starting to pay for reels. And when I say pay, it's minimum. Like you're talking for 10 videos, you're probably getting $10.
Okay. But where could that exponentially increase? Like if you're...
Who knows?
Like,
right? Yeah, as the more viewership on Reels, I think maybe also like the way they're doing their ads might change. People might pour more money, as in advertisers will pour more money into ads. And then...
I guess it's a step in the right direction. We're obviously nowhere near all the way there. YouTube, obviously, the most.
It's the most mature platform, right? So I think, give Instagram Reels the same maturity that YouTube has, and you've got yourself something. And it pays in US dollars as well.
Okay.
So, that helps being Aussie.
For sure.
It's something, right? And then you've got brand deals. So brand deals or sponsorships are the main ones. So usually when you see an influencer or a content creator post a brand deal, that's usually their main source of income. So that's why, like, whenever you do get comments like, oh, sell out or this or that, bro, you need to relax. Because usually people only see the one thing that I say yes to. They won't see the other 99 things that I said no to. Like I'm very firm on not promoting any degenerate behavior.
Of course.
So, like doing anything like gambling or alcohol, which goes against my religious beliefs. And as well, like I don't want to be, like I don't feel good promoting it as well, right? So people see like that I say yes to one thing and they'll be like, oh, bro, you're a sellout. You're this, you're that. And it's like, bro, for every 3 to 5 videos that I post one ad. I'm like, if it wasn't for these ads, I probably wouldn't be able to have the posting frequency, number one.
I wouldn't be enjoying your videos,
100%. That, number one. Number two, in order for content creators to consistently continue is for ads and these brands to sponsor the content or, give sponsored content or us help them with their campaign.
Of course.
People will sit there or like watch footy or watch anything else and will sit there through 4 or 5 ads, no worries. But they won't scroll through like an ad for an influencer. So, but it is what it is. But yeah, the main source of income is brand deals and partnerships.
Nice. I see, look, I'm glad to hear Instagram and Facebook are going in the right direction because I noticed that, the ads that actually, the sponsored ads that Instagram pushes out is very frequent. Like if you go for a scroll on stories, sometimes I've seen 2 in a row. I've seen ad.
They're getting a bit comfortable, huh?
Very comfortable.
Very comfortable on stories, but we don't get paid for stories. That's the funny thing.
Crazy.
I just think the metric there is so many people go through stories rather than scroll through content. So it just depends on how you consume content as well. I don't know, man.
For sure. That's interesting. And in terms of the platforms, like which one would you say is your main? Like where you?
That's a tough one. TikTok is a discovery tool.
Okay.
So TikTok, I post my videos there to get discovered by new people. And I hope to funnel and convert them into Instagram followers. Think about the people that you follow on Instagram. It's only people you know or people you're heavily interested in their content. For
sure.
Right? That's the way I see it.
It's like the prospecting tool for new people.
Of course.
Because Instagram is like you can curate it a bit more. Maybe for me at least, like I make sure my quality is a lot better, and then TikTok I'm a little bit more looser with what I put out.
For sure, because I think the way TikTok pushes out videos is it will show it to the first 100 people, and then if that pool of 100 people that might be interested in your video, they watch it, and the watch time retention is long. They'll push it out to the next 500 people, and then it goes like that. So that's how the discovery tool works.
Yeah, okay.
Because it's like the TikTok algorithm is crazy in the sense of how good it is. Like they'll make sure, if I'm watching clips strictly about investment properties, they'll make sure they push out any new video or anything about investment properties to my newsfeed. I don't know how that works, but they're just really good with that. So usually if you're not getting like the high view, not like ridiculously high, like obviously if it's super niche, it's different. As like for me, if it's like it does get mighty high views, then chances are I'm not really hitting, maybe not the right audience, but maybe I'm not striking the right chord with that audience, right? Whilst on Instagram is sort of like that consistent, like they usually send it out to your followers. Then if your followers like it, they'll send it out further.
TikTok's usually where you get most of the shit talkers, I've found. For me, on Instagram...
No profile photo, man. People are comfortable talking shit when there's no profile photo.
That's true.
There's no, like I'm not saying a blue tick or verification or whatever, but there's no real verification, right? People just make burner accounts on TikTok and they're comfortable.
You got some cat, then you got some fucking Vegemite, and then you just go, you're the shittest person ever, your videos suck, kill yourself. You're like, what the fuck,
Yeah, I know. And people are super comfortable. And then you got to remember there's also the brain rot with TikTok, right?
Yeah.
You don't get the average person consistently scrolling on TikTok. Whilst a lot of people on TikTok, man, you got to remember people are stuck on public transport.
True.
And they're just consuming rubbish after rubbish, or maybe they're just having a stressful day. Then your video is the first video that pops up. For sure. And they're like, I want to release some sort of tension. I want to make sure Beau knows that,
I fucking hate him.
I hate him. And, that's why you never take it personal on TikTok. Like I say, if they're not comfortable saying it to my face, then why take it personal?
Of course. Yeah. So you don't care about that stuff. You don't really read the comments.
What off a duck's back? I'll read comments. Yeah. But, bro, it will take something very, very, very tough for me to take it personal, because I just think bro, if this person isn't comfortable saying it to my face, I'm not going to entertain that conversation. I'm not a violent person or anything, but it's just dude, it's not worth it, man.
Of course.
At the end of the day, comments are just feedback. And sometimes if someone is just that's the good thing about Instagram. My Instagram is there's a community, there's a group of people who are always commenting, and that's because they want to contribute and add value to the joke. If the video is funny and it's about a certain topic, these people are there to add value. They're not there to be like, oh, yeah, but you're this and you're that. For me, for them, it's adding value. And then sometimes, I'll try and add value to their joke or, finish off their joke and something like that. And it's all about having a laugh. And I think that's a good thing about having videos that are sort of like PG related, rated and relatable.
For sure. Yeah, it appeals to a wider audience and you can have a bit of fun with it. Yeah, definitely. No, I love it, bro. And I guess to start to cap off a little bit, like how was your time in the fitness industry? Like while you were in the fitness industry, like I guess was there a point in time where you felt like you wanted to get out, or you know?
Yes and no. I think the main reason I wanted to get out is, how can I explain it? It wasn't the fitness industry. It's the fact that I worked for a 24-hour business, and a 24-hour business requires 24 hours attention. And unfortunately, the way the social media was going, I could not afford to give 24 hours to a business. And I'm the type of person, like I said, I learned to respect my job. So anything I did, I made sure I did it with my heart and soul. And when you're not compensated for 24 hours, but you're the type of person that will go above and beyond, but you've got a good thing kicking off, I think it came to the point where it's like, dude, I'm giving 40 hours plus the unpaid hours into this business. What if I just take that 40 hours and just put it into my own craft? What can come out of it?
Was that scary?
100% it was scary, man. No one has ever left their job and just like, oh yeah, I'm 100% confident. Because the good and bad thing about business is your income is not capped. But when people say that, they just think, oh, you're going to become a millionaire.
Yeah.
But that also means down below.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no guarantees you're going to make the right income the next week.
For sure.
You know, there's been times where I've had a month so good where I'm just like, bro, I don't have to work for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
And then I've had months where I'm like in a deficit. Well, I'm like, whoa, I'm paying all this money. I'm like, wait, but there's no money coming in.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of business. And I think the first 3 to 6 months was me just navigating that as sort of just like, all right, cool, I've got a family to feed.
Yeah.
Got a roof. It's, got a roof to keep on top of 3 people's heads, including plus myself, food to put on a table, plus everything else, right? Because when you're not working a 9 to 5, there's costs of, if I want to do this podcast, all right, cool. That means I'm going to have lunch out, or, like there's just things like that add up, right? That you don't usually pay for.
Yeah.
So it's just sort of also navigating and balancing that. So sometimes it's like also holding yourself accountable. That's the hardest part of our business, right? Holding yourself accountable and staying responsible. Definitely. Because people want, I want the freedom of time in business. And it's like, all right, cool, you get the freedom of time. But can you hold yourself back when there's time when the time is needed to hold yourself back?
Yeah. So with business, like you have to be extremely disciplined as well.
100%, man. You get the freedom of time, but man, you like fall, to the left a little bit, and sort of like blow a bit more than what's sort of projected, and then next thing you know, you're there shuffling.
You're scrambling, going, okay, we're on the back foot. And the good days compound, but sometimes the bad days can too. So
of course, man. And sometimes when you're in a rut, who's going to get you out? It's your business.
Of course, yeah.
So you got to rely on self-motivation and stuff like that. So that the first 3 to 6 months was that.
Yep.
And I'm not ungrateful I'm super grateful for the days in the fitness industry, but I'm also glad that I took that risk of, doing this. And I'll always remember the advice that I got from the owner of Royal Stacks, Danny. Is like, bro, you're either stressing for a business or you're stressing for yourself.
Yeah.
You got to pick your stress. And then I was just like, all right, cool. You know what? I'd rather be stressing for myself. And anytime I have a bad day, I'm just like, all right, think of the worst day whilst I was in the fitness industry. Is it as bad as that? Nah. Sure. All right, cool. Keep doing what you're doing. Yeah. We're good. Keep at it.
Comparison, and perspective. No, I love it. And for those people who are, first of all, amazing advice. Those guys who are sort of 20 years old, wanting to follow in your footsteps, and maybe they're resonating with a lot of your content. And would you have some advice for them, in relation to getting started?
Of course. So when it comes to content creation, you just got to get started. I think this is with anything in life. You just got to get started. Whatever you want to do, just get started. Failure is just feedback. You're going to learn as you go. Till this day, I've been 2 years almost about to go into my 3rd year of making videos, and I still stuff up, right? And failure is just feedback. Get started, and you will learn along the way, right? You're never going to get it right, and you're not always going to be right. Just whatever you're going to do, there's always going to be someone out there that's better than you. So just accept that and get started. That's my number one advice. And bro, if you're 20, you're still young, man. You've got plenty of time where, you can try 10 different things, as Gary Vee says. Yeah. Try 10 different things, and, you look back and you're only 30.
Definitely.
So you're still young.
Yeah.
Regardless. And the one thing that I always tell myself, I'm 30 at the moment. The retirement age is 70. I've still got 40 years, bro.
For sure.
And
we
you
don't
know
where
what?
we're going to go.
100%. So if I fail for 38 years and then once I hit 68 and I hit the big one, at least I gave it a crack for 38 years in a row, man.
For sure.
And I finally hit the big one. So it is what it is. You know, some people might take 38 days, some people 38 months, and some people 38 years. So just get started.
Definitely.
You never know where you find yourself. And sometimes the situation, your new situation, the worst day in your new situation will probably be not as bad as the worst day in your current situation.
For sure.
And things always get better.
Absolutely. And, you know, you're doing it for yourself and, you know, it's at least, you know, you're going to have that stress, as you said. You're going to have stress regardless. So you have to pick your stress. And you'd rather pick your stress working for yourself than for somebody else, especially if they don't appreciate it.
Of course. And trust me, the stress that you have as a solopreneur is not as crazy as you think it is, because as soon as you get payroll, then you'll realize what real stress is.
Absolutely.
When you've got other people to worry about.
Absolutely.
And then that becomes a whole different level of stress. And then, you know, there's levels to it.
But it's good, and you grow as a person and I think you'll be glad that you did it. So the other thing I really got out of the advice that you gave was not listening to other people's opinions and not taking things personally. So people are going to talk shit. People are going to say this is not the right idea. If you're wanting to try something, you should just try it. I was going to say, especially if you're 20, but really at any age, if you can afford to do so, tastings, as Gary Vee says.
Definitely. I think not worrying about people's opinions, I mean, it's hard to tell some people because some people are just so wrapped up in that world, especially in social media, where you feel like, you know, you go online, you got people telling you, oh, no, you should do this, oh, no, you should do that. And it's just like, man, just do what feels right. You know, it's hard to trust your gut these days, but sometimes you just got to trust your gut, but also make sure you put in the work. Like we say, man, there's a saying like, it's all good and well to say inshallah, which is in God's will, you know, God willing, but you also got to put in the work.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that absolutely also the thief of joy I found is comparison as well. Did you ever struggle with, you know, looking at your videos, then going onto one or two people's profiles and being like, fuck, their videos are better than mine? Like, was that ever something that you looked at, or were you sort of like always focused in your lane and like you were mainly like just focused on what you had to do?
So with like comparison being the thief of joy, you do get caught in moments like that, you know, especially in the field that I'm in, social media. Naturally, you're going to come across other people's content. You're going to be like, oh, man,
like
I wish
22 and he's got 10 million followers.
Yeah,
like,
of course, man. You're going to get caught up in that.
Yeah.
But with me, that's why I'm super grateful I took 8 years off content creation, because it's of you know, my mind and everything has developed and my character has developed where I've realized there's enough for everyone. Yeah. If someone watches me, they can watch 5 other content creators and that's okay.
For
you know, if I'm making a 1 minute video, that's 1 minute of their day. If they can decide to put that 1 minute, put that vote to anyone's content, not just mine. So I think I find peace in that. And I also find peace in the fact that, you know what? Me and 5 content creators can make the same video and it'll be 6 different videos.
For sure. Absolutely.
And that's the reality of content creation. That's why when people are like, oh, it's saturated, you know, this is saturated, that's saturated. I'm like, bro, trust me. Nothing is saturated, because eventually someone can sort of give off their original, like whatever the original idea is, someone can give their spin to it and it'll be actually better in some cases.
For sure. Yeah, definitely. And I guess, that's where it comes down. Like no one's really a competitor. Everyone's got their own take, and I guess.
Yeah, I think the way I see it is like everyone that's on social media that I sort of like, they're just peers. Right? You know, they're just peers. They're doing the same thing in me. We're all in the same game.
Yeah.
And you know what, man? They might look at my shit and think, oh, I could have done it better.
Yeah.
And I look at their shit and I think, bro, I could make that video that much better. But it's what it is.
Definitely.
So, you know, if you think you can make it better, make it better.
For sure. When it comes to your mindset around, you know, speaking in front of large crowds and doing tours and this sort of thing, how do you kind of hype yourself up, and what's your mindset around like being confident and speaking around so many people and thinking, fuck, what if I fuck up? Like, does this not even cross your mind? How do you manage that?
I don't manage that. It manages me, man.
Yeah.
Like every time I'm going up in front of a camera, I'm perfectly fine. I could sit In a studio, talk all day, talk to my phone, talk to a camera, no worries. Out in public, sometimes like it just takes like a couple of takes to warm up. But when I'm speaking in front of a crowd, honestly, it's just like 10 minutes of me being a nervous wreck. Just drink a lot of water, stay hydrated, and just
do you have a mindset?
Focused,
do you like? I know people say like picture the audience naked, like all this stuff.
No. I think the best advice that I got in is the people are here for you. So if it's my show, the people are here for you. Whenever I do Comics Lounge, it's like these people are here to laugh. So I find comfort in, you know what, just go up there, make these people laugh.
Tell us about Comics Lounge. What's that? How often do you go?
The Comics Lounge is, I think, has hit top 10 comedy clubs in the world.
Wow.
Right? So you're talking at probably one of the best. And shout out to Comics Lounge for sure, man. That's why I started, because like stand-up comedy, they gave me a chance, which is rare. Very rare anyone gets a crack. And they gave me a chance, and I've taken it and managed to even do a tour. Comics Lounge is, I think, open 6 or 7 days a week, and they do like every day stand-up comedy. There's comics. You can go there, bro. How often do you think to yourself like, bro, you know what? What I mean, the boy's going to do. No one ever thinks like, oh, yeah, we should go Comics Lounge and have a laugh, right? You get to see 9 to 10 comedians on stage. Sometimes just 4 or 5 really good comedians. And you also support the scene.
For sure.
Right? And, bro, they're the OGs of comedy here in Melbourne, if not Australia. And sometimes, bro, they hosted Joe Rogan before he had the podcast, or at the start of his podcast.
Wow.
They've had some of the biggest names. And, bro, it's always a good time when you go there, man. And
amazing, bro. Where is this place?
North Melbourne.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, so bro, literally around the corner, man. And, like central location, and bro, they've got it all there, man. And anytime you feel like you need a laugh, just go there. It's like one of those things you can do by yourself. Or you can go with a group of people and just go there and just have a laugh, grab a feed. You know, if you want to have a few drinks, you can have a few drinks. And bro, the OGs of comedy, and you can't change my mind.
Nice.
That's for sure, man.
How often do you head down there?
Whenever I can.
Okay.
It's one of those things. Like this year, you know, I've popped in probably like once or twice, but it's just one of those things where I'm just so heavily focused on content.
Sure.
That stand-up comedy isn't really like at the top of my list right now.
Sure.
Just because I'm just having so much fun making content.
Yeah, for sure. But it's one of those things that you can kind of do as a hobby, or you can just go there and...
For sure. Bro, sometimes I just want to go and have a laugh myself, man. I just want to go and watch.
Or you have a shit day, you know, you have a good day, whatever.
Of course, man. And sometimes it's good to go there and just see the boys and gals that, you know, perform as well, and just catch up with them and have a laugh. And, you know, it's a good bunch of people, bro.
I love it.
And like I said, you support them, and in turn, one day they will turn and support you.
For sure. Yeah, definitely. I feel like, a lot of these guys get their start at these comedy lounges, and I see Joe Rogan talk about it a lot, where he talks about the comedy club, and back in the day with Joey Diaz and a bunch of the other guys, it kind of has that cool aura and nostalgia to it, probably for you guys as well.
Of course, man. I think with the good thing about comedy clubs is, especially the Comics Lounge, but if you're shit, people will let you know.
Yeah,
in a good way, right? They're not going to heckle you or like throw you off stage or throw rotten tomatoes.
It's all love in that way.
It's all love, of course, man. It's just feedback. And bro, how many times I've jumped off stage, the bartenders come up to me, they're like, bro, that joke was good, but if you say it this way, it'll be better. And then the next week I'll jump on and I'll say it that way, and people will lose their shit. And I'm just like, sometimes you just need a second pair of eyes, and the Comics Lounge is a perfect example of second pair of eyes, and as well as a crowd that's there to have a laugh. No one goes to a comedy club to have a shit time.
Of course.
Right? I mean, you know, you get your odd heckler here and there. But, you know, everyone's there to have a good time. So
how do you deal with hecklers?
I haven't had any, but there was this one person, I think it was in Gold Coast, but she just got a bit too drunk.
Okay.
And, you know.
What was she saying?
Oh, no, like I think I said a story or a joke.
Yeah.
And then she's like, oh, that's racist. But like she was talking like as in like agreeing with me.
Yeah.
But she kept like repeating it.
Yeah.
And it was my first ever solo show. So I didn't know like how to really handle it.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to disrespect it because it was like a crowd, like it was an intimate crowd, like an intimate stage where I could see everyone.
Yeah.
So like I didn't want to make her feel super uncomfortable, especially it being my first show.
Yeah.
So I just let her be.
Yeah.
But I think the next tour that I do, I'm going no mercy on it.
Love it. Just hit the hecklers up.
Yeah, of course. But sometimes some people do it for attention as well.
Of course.
So sometimes I just like
sometimes it's funny too, though. Like it's kind
of course. But sometimes you don't want to ruin or like.
Of course.
I think the main thing with me.
Do they try to ruin it or they try to be funny or like?
They try and be funny.
Okay.
Because sometimes what the dynamic of a comedy show sometimes is, I take Beau. Beau doesn't know this comedian.
Yeah.
Beau's having a shit night because he doesn't know who the comedian is.
Yeah.
And he's a bit drunk. So Beau will start yelling. To try and be funny.
Yeah.
But really, it depends on the type of comic because that comic might just shut him down.
I've seen funny comics shut him down. Like some of the funniest things are like when hecklers start and then the comics shut him down. I just piss myself.
Sometimes.
And then they go savage, like you're fat as fuck or like something like hilarious.
And sometimes I'm trying to draw the line. So sometimes I'm like, man, this person paid for a ticket, so I feel bad at the start, but at the next show it's no mercy.
I think it's funny if you just hammer them though. Like I don't know. Like
of course, man. I think you got to pick your targets because sometimes some people thrive off it.
Okay.
And sometimes you know what, you just want to drain the oxygen out of the room. And not give them any room to breathe. And just that will shut them down. That's the best embarrassment they can get. Is like for someone to turn around and be like, "Hey, bro, shut the fuck up."
Yeah.
That's better than me roasting him.
Yeah, exactly. Was that guy? Is his name Jimmy or something? Funny guy.
Probably thinking about Matt Rife.
Maybe, yeah. He always beefs with comics, with hecklers. It's so much fun.
That's probably Matt Rife, man. He goes hard, man.
Yeah. Some of the savage ones are just hilarious.
Of course, man. I think so. And
it's just the truth. It's not about being savage.
100%, man. It's just observational humor, and not just that. It's like, bro, in Morocco, if in Morocco, if you're overweight, like they'll always make the joke, like, for example, we'll be putting this table together, and then I'll be like, oh man, I don't know how to put this table together. And they'll be like, I bet you if it was food, you'd know about it. So like, they always play on the jokes. Like the first thing they pick on is like the most obvious thing.
Yeah.
So, if you're a heckler, make sure you're not missing teeth or something. Or you're just going to stand out like a sore thumb. Like a sore thumb. Jesus,
exactly.
Going dyslexic.
Make yourself an easy target. No, it's hilarious.
Yeah.
So let's conclude. I know we spoke about where's Teddy going to be in 2030, but maybe tell us some of your plans for the end of 2024 and what you hope to do.
The plan is the plan. The plan at the moment is obviously to pump out more content. I would love to start a YouTube channel.
Nice.
In an ideal world, I'm just trying to figure out the structure of what people want. The next 3 months. So we are in June. So the next 3 months is looking like a lot of experimental videos. Cool. So there'll be some videos that will probably do absolutely shocking, and I'm super comfortable with that. I'm just trying to develop different concepts that will hopefully work.
Of course.
Yeah, like we'll see how they go.
I love it. I see your thinking mind. You're like, I'm developing these concepts, and then you start thinking about the concepts.
Yeah, and I'm like, well, hopefully they work. No, honestly, like I'm just trying to try different.
You're going to navigate, and you're going to try different things. Yeah,
100%. Like I know most likely so far I'm not touring this year. So I'll be doing gigs, but not like a solo tour this year.
Cool.
So I just want to go like very heavy on the content, try different type of concepts, and hopefully they work.
Yep.
And really like just go hard and sort of try and branch out to overseas crowds as well, and just try and reach a deeper Australian crowd as well. There's 25 million. I always say this line. There's 25 million people in Australia, and I've got 400,000 followers.
That's fair.
What's stopping me from getting 1 million? 1 in 25 people know me.
Of course.
Right? So, that's always the aim of the game for me. So I'm just really trying to push it out by trying different methods of delivery, different concepts, and hopefully just growing. Hitting 500K by the end of this year is my goal.
Yeah.
We'll see, man. But, it takes a 500K mentality.
For sure.
So that's why I'm trying new things.
Yeah, definitely. Trying new things, and you'll learn so much on the journey, and I guess that's what it's all about.
100%, man. And also like, pave the way for whoever's coming in to be a content creator as well. Because I think now I'm at a point where, all right, cool. I'm not, man, I don't know what the list is for like the top content creators, but I'm up there in the top 10 at least. I hope top 10, top 15.
Easy, bro.
And, I'm hoping like there's someone out there that's looking at my content thinking they can do the same thing. And, I want to pave the way for them to make them realize that, hey, you can do the same thing. And if you're younger than me, you can probably do better.
I guess, when you say pave the way, it's just, you're opening it up and you're doing like a proof of concept so that.
100%, man. Proof of concept. And I think like me growing up, like I said, with YouTube, it was like one of those things like everyone that I saw online didn't look like me, didn't talk like me, didn't have like similar upbringing to me. So it was like hard to tell people like, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping someone out there who sees me sort of has a similar upbringing and, ethnic Aussie, from the suburbs of Australia can look at me and be like, hey, you know what? If he can, why can't I?
For sure, bro. I love it. You're representing, I wouldn't say the little guy, but you're representing the suburbs as well, which is cool.
Yeah, of course, man. And that's why I do the Welcome to Suburbs videos because, just representing the underrepresented.
For sure, bro.
And, bro, you never know, man. Someone might be talking to Beau, looking to invest in Dallas, and they watch my video to know what it's about.
For sure, yeah. The reason I know Dallas, I actually I went to buy 2 properties there going back about 6 years ago. And at the time, they were $280,000 each. And I listened to the naysayers at the time and I didn't buy those properties. Big fucking mistake, bro.
Big mistake, man. If you're buying in Dallas for less than $500,000-600,000 grand now, you've got a very good deal.
Absolutely. Fucked up nicely on that one. And I heard even the neighbors were going, this place is shit, don't invest here. I was going, what? Come on, man. Great value. 18Ks from the city. I was like,
big land.
This is big land. Yeah.
Big land and like, bro.
Decent sized houses. I was like, this is a no-brainer. But, you listen to the naysayers and the non-action of what you do is often, that's the regret actually. When you don't take the action. It's not like, you can actually take the action, fail, and then go like, fuck, all right. Like it's not really a regret because you've learned from them and you've taken the action.
But do you feel like that's the Aussie spirit where it's just like, just have a crack?
I think so.
Yeah?
But also I think it just translates well in everything. Like, in my industry, like a whole thing around like, a lot of people are like, buy this property, buy that property, blah, blah, blah. Like this property is like, I was arguing with Oscar yesterday. He's going, we're talking about commercial and residential and we're having a discussion. And I said for me, it was less about what kind of property I was buying. And I was more just like buying anything. I was like, bought a warehouse and all right, cool. I got a little deposit. I'm going to buy an older house and then on a big block and do it up. And all right, cool. I'm going to buy a new property. Like I didn't like, the reason that I was successful in my field was because of it was less about the strategy that I was doing at the time. Now I'm a lot more strategic, but it was more so about the actual action that I was taking. And I think that like, even if you make a few little blunders or you have some videos that are shit or you get a bit of hate on a video or something, like it is all learning. So
of course, man, you got to have skin in the game. Like I say, like they say, not I say, the worst days in the arenas are better than the best days in the stands.
I like that.
That's the reality.
Say that again, brother.
The worst days in the arena is still better than the best day in the stands.
Absolutely.
You're either a spectator or you're a doer.
Absolutely, bro.
Yeah. So be the man in the arena. You'd rather fail in the arena than be the ones in the stands and sort of like, but I can do that, but you're not. So
definitely.
Shut up.
Absolutely. I think it's probably the perfect place to end today's chat. It was an absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
Had a lot of fun.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you for having me.
Let's do it again.
Yeah, for sure.